What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on Thursday, September 22nd. This is the final episode of Blazers Uprise Live of the off-season, as next Monday's episode will be on Media Day. We'll get to hear quotes from Blazers players. That's what we'll dive into, and we'll begin to start talking about things that are actually happening in regards to your Portland Trail Blazers. But for now, there's things happening across the league. Eric, it's been a baffling day for the NBA. Two crazy things happened today that are just kind of confusing and abnormal, and one of them was a coach suspension. Ime Udoka is suspended for the season, and then one of them was a trade that made really no sense the first time I saw it, and still doesn't really make much sense to me, so we're going to talk about that type of stuff. Then at the end, for those that stick around through the entire episode, we'll talk some just channel thoughts and whatnot, as this is the last episode of the offseason. We're going to have jam-packed episodes after this, so we'll do some channel-oriented stuff and conversations, and we'll take your questions, and we'll just hang out with you guys and chill for after we talk about these two crazy things that happened today, and we'll take your questions, that sort of thing. Eric, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I gotta close my drawer behind me because I forgot to close that, but had
your underwear drawer
tonight.
Nope. All your tidy whities.
Nope, it's my shirt drawer. Well, actually, I'm very unorganized right now. I kind of it's like a random assortment in a drawer of clothes in there. But yeah, no, I was rushing to get the stream live. Normally, I do a pretty good job. In the past, I used to leave like Burgerville cups. I was watching like an old stream or video back from like 2 years ago, and it's like I got a Burgerville cup in the background. It's like, at least I don't do that anymore. I make sure the background is pretty good, and I'm actually gonna like completely overhaul my background before the season, so that should be fun. But yeah, I forgot about the freaking drawer, so let me close that.
All right, and while you're doing that, let's thank this dono from DC. $5 donation says, "Gather round, kiddies. Time to learn about quid pro quo and the Boston Celtics." Yes, indeed.
Yep. I'm trying to like keep my headphone in my ear and listen, but I can't close this. All right, cool. Anyway, thank you for the dono, DC. Anyway, all right, now I'm ready to go for the show. Now I'm not out of sorts anymore. All right, now the background's looking good. Thank you for the dono. Yeah, this Ime Udoka thing, I'm going to let Eric lead it, all right? If you guys can't tell, I'm a little frazzled. I've been running around all day, and Thursday streams are hard to get live at 9:30, as I got rec league till 9, and then gotta, come home and try and eat and that sort of thing. So, Eric's been paying a little bit more attention to the Udoka stuff, so we're just gonna hop into it, and I'm gonna let Eric lead that conversation. So, Eric, Ime Udoka is suspended for the season, might never coach for the Celtics again. What is the rundown on this crazy situation?
Well, late last night, came out from Woj saying that Ime Udoka's being investigated for breaking a team rule or something. Didn't specify what it was, which led to all kinds of Twitter speculation. And then a little bit later, Shams said it was a consensual, improper relationship with a female employee, I think is how he put it. So then, went rampant on like who it was and what happened and all that kind of stuff. And then today it comes out that he's looking at a year-long suspension possibly, but the Celtics still hadn't announced anything. They finally did so this evening and did in fact suspend him for a year. Ime thought about resigning, but I guess ultimately decided not to resign. I don't know if he still would, or if the Celtics could possibly move on from him at some point. But yeah, and then just a few minutes ago, a Shams article dropped in which he says that members of the Celtics organization first became aware of the relationship in July. Ime was told back then that it violated a team policy, so they kind of gave him a pass. And then it came out later that she recently accused him of making unwanted comments towards her which led to the team launching a new set of investigations into the matter. And they found that he did not take their warning and continued to do this. And there's rumors there might have been a second female as well. So yeah, for Ime, looks like they tried to let him off the hook with a slap on the wrist and nothing really big, and he continued to violate the team rule. And in a minute, after I give you a chance to respond to what I just said, I want to explain why the team rule is important and why you shouldn't just see it as a consensual relationship.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest reaction that I saw to this was comparing it to suspensions for other things, and not just NBA suspensions, like NFL suspensions, and the whole Deshaun Watson case, which my whole opinion on that is Deshaun Watson shouldn't be in the league.
He should be banned from the league, yeah.
Yeah, I do not respect the Browns whatsoever for bringing him on, right? But like that's the thing is when you hand down suspensions as a league, there's certain limitations in place with like the collective bargaining agreement, and it's not all cut and dry, and it's just it's like there's legal jargon and stuff in regards to like, I don't know, like the league, the NFL probably didn't handle it the best, but it should have been a situation where no team should have signed him regardless. All right. But people will look at this and say, Deshaun Watson didn't even get suspended for a season. He got suspended for 11 games by the NFL. And they'll look at this and say, wow, Ime Udoka, for having a consensual relationship, gets suspended for a whole season when Deshaun Watson only gets suspended for 11 games. So that is something that I've seen a lot of, is people just kind of confused about that. But the thing is, you have to remember, is this is a team employee that the team is suspending, right? And the team obviously has, they can do whatever they want. They can fire him, just because they don't like his coaching or like his stuff. Now, obviously, he had a phenomenal season last year, leading the Celtics to the NBA Finals.
If he didn't, he'd be fired.
Yeah. I mean, I think so, yeah. Finally got him over the hump. Got him to an NBA Finals. Almost won a championship, right? So, it's not like, yeah, he probably would have been fired if he wasn't very successful in his first season as the coach of the Boston Celtics, but this is team rules and a team suspension where they can do whatever they want as a team. Whereas if it was something where the team was like, we don't care, and he did something that violates the league's rules, it'd be a little bit different with the league suspending him. So that is the thing to remember that I see a lot of people not really realizing is, in regards to some other things, it's the league that suspends players for certain things, like the Calvin Ridley thing with betting, and he got suspended for the entire year because he bet on an NFL game when he was out, which I thought was kind of a little bit ridiculous, but whatever, it's the league rule, and it's the league's decision, whereas this thing with Ime Udoka is a team decision. It's different.
Yep. And for the record, F. Brett Favre, he deserves to be in prison for scamming welfare things. This has nothing to do with Brett Favre, but he deserves his own punishment. Deshaun Watson should be banned from the NFL. He should probably be in jail as well, considering the amount of women he sexually assaulted or whatever. And yeah, so it's not, we're not going to do a whataboutism though. Like, it's like we have to address what happened with this. Those suspensions have nothing to do, or those punishments have nothing to do with this punishment. Like you said, it's a different set of rules for a team, and a violation of a team policy. But honestly, this is a workplace policy for pretty much every big corporation or business. And the reason is, a person like Ime Udoka can engage in consensual sex or whatever with an employee. But what happens when that female employee no longer wants to have consensual sex with that person, and Ime Udoka is in a powerful position above her or him, or whatever the case may be, in whatever the situation may be? So how could that person ever be treated fairly by the person who is now in power and charge over that person? And that is why the rule is in place, because whether it was consensual or not, at some point they're going to break up or things going to happen or whatever. If they end up getting married and it's a love story, great, like awesome. But more times than not, that's not what happens. And what happens is the woman in this case, who is underneath the powerful male, gets screwed because she ends up getting fired, or she ends up getting blackballed from the team or something like that. And this is a rule put in place to avoid this stuff. This is literally how the Me Too movement started in Hollywood, with these directors, producers, executives using sexual favors and things like that to get people to consent to having relations with them so they could be in their movies and crap like that. This is exactly why this policy is put in place. And for him to not only violate the rule, but then to be told about it, continue with it, and then have inappropriate contact with her, and she accuses him of like saying things to her. This guy deserves to be suspended. I don't care if it was consensual at the time. Like, you cannot do this as a person in power at any company, whether it's the NBA or your local business down the street. This is not how you treat your employees, and it should not be permissible to do that without first going through the proper channels. Like, maybe if you're in love or something and you're going to get married, maybe you can talk with HR and maybe you could do something, but that doesn't sound like anything close to what happened in this case. And so he deserves to be punished. He had several chances to right the situation, and he did not. And he took advantage of his powerful position as a head coach in the NBA. And for all the people who are fighting for women to have more positions and stuff like this is exactly why we need to punish people like Ime Udoka, who take advantage of their authority and their position and treat these women as not as like a sexual thing that they can use their power over to induce that, and we can't allow that. So he has to be punished. And I know a year sounds crazy when you compare it to the Deshaun Watson thing, like you said, but different set of circumstances, different rules. Just because that suspension wasn't harsh enough doesn't mean that this needed to be lighter or something like that. So yeah, that's just my feelings on it, and that's how I feel about it. And Ime Udoka is not a very good person if he took advantage of someone based on his power.
Yeah, I mean, very well said. Let me read off Connor's donation because it leads into my next point, and then Alvaro and Caleb's, I'll read your guys' in a second. Thank you for donating. Connor with the $10 dono. Thank you, Connor. He says, most companies with competent HR departments have policies like this. Only difference with this is how high profile the position is. And this is a common workplace rule. It's pretty well known that you're not supposed to mix business with pleasure. It doesn't go well, and that's, for any party, you don't want to mix those two things. That's pretty commonly known, and most companies, as Connor says, have policies against this. Mm-hmm. It's just most companies, it's not a head coach of an NBA team. Most companies, you're getting fired if you do what Ime Udoka did, and they're just moving on and finding a replacement. No big deal. As far as, the company goes, they just wash their hands of it and move on and find your replacement. They don't keep you around in that sort of scenario. So, I guess I don't know if it should be different in regards to a head coach. Maybe this is something he should be fired for. I don't know. Do you think he should be fired, or do you think a 1-year suspension is fair, Eric?
I mean, I don't know all the details yet, just what we've heard so far. I mean, it kind of depends on what he said to her, or how he treated her after it stopped. So I think he's pretty lucky to have not gotten fired. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's a good coach, and that's playing into it. He had a phenomenal year. They finally feel like they found a coach that was going to lead them to a championship. And yeah, so I'm sure Boston didn't want to have it come to this either. But
yeah, I mean, but I can't say Boston should have done anything more, because you look at other franchises in the NBA or other sports, and I feel like they wouldn't hold their coach all that accountable for this. You know what I mean? Like, this happens, people are like, oh my goodness, but at the very least, it's what should happen. It's just, you're not used to seeing organizations hold their own employees or people responsible. Like, the Browns go and give Deshaun Watson a freaking payday, and he's only suspended for 6 games at first, and I guarantee you, 7th game, Browns are trotting him out there and he's the starting quarterback, or else why the hell would they have paid him, right? So it's refreshing to see an organization hold that accountable when they probably aren't forced to by anyone, by the league. Like, I don't think the league could have forced a year-long suspension for this. This is more of something within the team workplace. And, like Olshey supposedly treated people really badly, and then it comes out. If that doesn't come out, there's still a decent chance he's still the GM of the Portland Trailblazers, right? So it's refreshing to see an organization hold their own employees, especially a head coach that just almost led them to a championship in his first year, accountable. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, Olshey got fired for being an a-hole, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he deserved to be fired. He should have been fired. I'm not trying to say he shouldn't or be an Olshey apologist or whatever, but like, if there would have been this kind of thing, some sort of inappropriate relationship regarding Olshey, all I'm going to say is a lot of these same people that are still defending Ime would be killing Olshey right now and be relentless in their attacks on him. So, but neither's right, but they're both in the wrong. Both things are bad. And, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, if the relationship ended and they still have a good working relationship, I guess. But if she is accusing him of something and it opened up an investigation, I don't see how they can work together. So what do you do? And this is the problem. And this is why this rule is in place, because you can't fire her, right?
Yeah.
So like, it just puts the organization in a really tough spot, and now they're probably going to be facing some lawsuits or something if something happens with her job or she's not kept on at some point. And what if she wasn't doing a good job now, and now you can't fire her because of performance, because she'll just blame it on this, and like, you're blackballing her because of this situation and choosing Ime over her. And it's messy, and you cannot have. This is why organizations do not want this kind of mix going on.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll be honest, like, Ime was my first choice for the head coaching vacancy last offseason, and he has a phenomenal year. Right now, I'm happy that we didn't bring in Ime, because you don't want a head coach that puts himself before the team. This is supposed to be the leader of your team, right? And he was warned about this, right? You just don't mix this stuff, man. Like, you just absolutely don't. It's selfish. And all the repercussions that you did a really good job laying out, that becomes a problem with something like this. That's something that you're putting before the team. Like, you don't care about that. You don't care about how it might get you fired, or like the organization might have to hold you accountable for this and you could get suspended for a season. You're talking about a team that almost won a championship, and you're going to put having a relationship with this woman when you shouldn't ahead of your own team. It's selfish. It's flat out selfish. So, especially after they warn you. Like, they warn you and you still do it. So it's self-serving. You don't want that type of attitude, that type of guy leading your franchise as the head coach. You just don't. So I'm happy that Portland didn't get him, because I think it sets a bad precedent. And in the end of this, I still have a feeling that there's a decent chance that he gets fired despite the success he's had. Because, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for the players, but this dude, out of his own self-serving interest, got himself suspended for an entire season, might have got himself fired after they almost won a championship. I mean, that's not good. That's not a good image to set as the leader of a team.
Yeah, you're just going to walk back into the locker room in a year and be like, oh, hey, guys. You know, like...
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a team that, like, they had a great turnaround last year, but they had turmoil for the first half of the season. It's like he righted the ship and, you know, like the turmoil, they bounced back from that, from adversity, and almost won a championship. And it's like they're on the right direction, young team, whatever. And then this happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see what happens. My guess is more details are going to come out. It's going to paint him in a bad light, and then they'll be like, "Wow, he only got a year suspension," like for that, and then he'll probably either resign or get fired. Much like with Olshey, I think there's what the investigation turned up is probably important, because if they had grounds to fire him with cause and, you know, void his contract, I'm sure that might have played into it. So yeah, it's just a weird situation, and I mean, Ime caused it all. I mean, and this is why it doesn't really matter that it was consensual, because this is what happens when relationships stop, or when they end, or they continue, or maybe she found out he was also doing this with another employee, you know, like, not just this case, but like any case, like that, there's too many problems that could arise from it. And if he voted, or if he violated the team rule, you would think that would be a big enough rule to be fired over if details come out that he was warned about and all that stuff. So I don't know.
And people compare this to other suspensions in the same, you know, in the NBA, in the NFL, whatever. But the problem is that for the most part, athletes and, you know, coaches and whoever go underpunished for doing bad things. Like, that's the main problem. You look back at Ray Rice and his, he got suspended 4 games?
2, I think, originally.
2 games?
And then the video came out, yeah.
Yeah, like, in the past, it's consistently been not enough. Deshaun Watson should not be in the league in the NFL, and he just gets an 11-game suspension, right? Like, yeah, you can say, well, Ime shouldn't get as punished as bad as Deshaun Watson did, but that doesn't mean Ime shouldn't get punished. That means Deshaun Watson didn't get, like, he shouldn't be in the league. Like, 11 games is ridiculous for that. That's the problem. Like, how many times can you remember there being a punishment for a player and thinking, oh, he shouldn't be punished that much, Eric. Like, that's a little harsh. The only thing that maybe you can make a case for is, like, Calvin Ridley, when he was out, he bet, I forget how much he bet. It wasn't anything crazy.
$1,500, I think.
Yeah, $1,500 on an NFL game when he was out, and he got suspended for a whole season. Which, I mean, yeah, like, that's a rule. That's, like, something you don't do, but when he's out, like, that's one thing where, you know, didn't do anything illegal, didn't do anything to hurt anyone, right? And he got suspended for an entire season. That's, like, the only case I can remember where it's been a situation where, okay, maybe that was a little bit harsh. Every other suspension that I've ever seen in pro sports, I haven't had that reaction.
Yeah, it's like, I think, see, we talked about you mentioned this at the beginning, like what a league is allowed to do based on their collective bargaining agreement and stuff like that. And I think if you're actually found to be gambling, like, whether it was harsh or not, what kind of idiot logs onto their own account? Like, dude, use your buddy's account if you're gonna bet.
Yeah, you don't got a boy for that. Yeah,
like, dude, what the?
You don't got a guy for that, man. Come on.
But, like, it is in the collective bargaining agreement that, like, I'm not gonna say this is right. I'm just saying what it is, that in most sports, gambling on that sport when you are inside of an organization and may have inside information or could possibly influence games. Regardless if he was playing or not, he was still a member of the team and could have contacted friends and got some inside information or something like that. But that has to go with the whole integrity of the sport, and there is a precedent for how much he was suspended for that. But like the judge or the arbitrator or whatever it was in the DeSean Watson thing was like, oh, the precedent is 6 games in this situation, which is stupid. And
yeah, that's the problem. Is the precedent has been guys go underpunished.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. I hope this never happens. I hope this guy never plays again either. But if Miles Bridges gets signed by a team, it'll be interesting to see how much the suspension is for him. Because I believe there's a certain amount. I know like Darren Collison had this. There's been some other players. I don't want to name any names if I'm wrong, but I think there's like a domestic violence suspension in the NBA, and I always feel like it's like 50 games or something, or 40 games, and I always feel like that's way too, like it should be a lot more. But yeah, if Miles Bridges signed with like another team, like what does the NBA suspend him for? Like what happens there? I mean, he might be in jail, so it might not matter, but.
I mean, he's another guy that, in my opinion, shouldn't play in the NBA again.
Right.
Like, if the Blazers signed him even 5 years from now, I'd be pissed. Like, yeah, you can... That's the thing, is, like, you should be able to redeem yourself from most things, but there's some things that are so bad that... Like, the things that Miles Bridges did, I don't think you can just redeem yourself. I mean, you're talking about the NBA is a collection of the best basketball players in the world. They're extremely well known. They are idols for some. They have a platform, right? Like they are a public figure by playing in the NBA. That comes with more responsibility than just your average Joe. You do something as bad as Miles Bridges did, which you should obviously never do. I don't think he should play in the league again. I would be pissed off if the Blazers signed him 5-6 years from now. And I think most of the fan base would be pissed off if the Blazers signed him 5 or 6 years from now. But the thing is, a team is probably going to sign him. And then it's going to be, how long does he get suspended? And then it's probably going to be too short.
Yeah, hopefully he just goes to jail for longer than his playing career would have been anyway, and we never have to worry about this. But I completely agree.
Yeah, so... It's just, hopefully in the future, athletes will receive more punishment for crap they do, man. I mean, yeah, it gets frustrating to me. Yeah, it gets frustrating to me. I don't really know what else to say on it.
Yeah. Donald says that you realize it's illegal for a teacher-student relationship even if both are adults and consent. Same with Udoka. I think the important distinction is what Udoka did wasn't illegal. It just violated a corporate policy. And yeah, it's kind of, it's wrong, like morally, I guess is what I should say. Not legally necessarily, unless if he did something to her after she stopped consenting or demanded it or she was fired, then it could come into a legal situation.
And supposedly he made unwanted comments. Who knows what those comments are? They could be sexual harassment.
Yep.
So who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know everything, you know, that's the thing. So, I mean, maybe he did.
But dude, I don't, it's crazy how much people give up to get laid. I mean, this guy finally gets his a dream job in the NBA, right? He's been working really, really hard for a long time as an assistant. Has been a finalist for several coaching jobs. And then, yeah, so, um, yeah. And then he has a great year. He's like on top of the world, I guess. And now it's like all coming crashing down, and he might not ever get another coaching job if he gets fired from
I mean, let's just be honest. Like, he's a multimillionaire. He could probably, have multiple, multiple relationships with people not in the organization, right? Like, he's like, I'm not going to say he's an attractive man or anything, but like, he could probably figure that out, right? He could probably, whatever he wants, if he wants to cheat on his girlfriend, because that's the thing, he was also in a relationship. What, was he engaged or married? What was the relationship status? Because he actually was with someone.
Yeah, it's Nia Long, an actress who's very well thought of. Yeah, so I don't know. There's conflicting reports. Some say they were separated. They've been engaged for a very long time. I believe they have a child together. But just a few months ago, there was videos of her just going crazy when the Celtics were winning playoff games and stuff. So if this was back in July, I mean, it had to have been going on, during the season. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. You shouldn't cheat in general. If you want to, cheating is just stupid to me. Just break up with them if you want to be with someone else, right? Or if you want to be with multiple people, just be single and just keep it real and be honest. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. As long as stuff is consensual and it's like you're not mixing it up with the workplace and you're not cheating on somebody, like, nothing wrong with that, right? And that's the thing. He could have that and not sacrifice his career and put himself before his team and do all of this. But it's almost like, I don't know, it seems like some of these guys, man, it's like, because it's bad, because it's a member of the organization, like, that's probably why he wanted that. Because it was like
the thrill of doing something wrong.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I can't speak for him. I don't have that mindset. Like, I don't know. But it seems like that works for some guys, and that's what they want, and they just don't care. But that's a problem. Like, you don't care about your team. You're putting yourself before the team because you're seeking that thrill or whatever, right? So, I mean, he doesn't have his priorities straight, and he doesn't care about other people. And he's obviously, if he made comments after the fact, he doesn't care about other people in his own workplace, which is not good. Not good. That's why he got punished. And he should maybe get fired for it. So.
Yep. So Jason Hawley says, but what about our coach Chauncey? Do you want to say that, or you want me to?
You go ahead, man.
Okay, so Chauncey's a tough one. I mean, it's what, like 26, 27 years ago that happened now. Mm-hmm. The problem is it was so long ago, it's hard to know exactly what happened. It's a one-time incident. Chauncey has like a sparkling record from everyone he knows since that incident. I'm not saying that's right. If he did do something that night, he does not deserve. His career should have been over then as well. But the fact, it's just hard.
Do you want me to say
it? Yeah.
Like, he was never, like, it was an allegation that was never proven, right or wrong. The district attorney said that he didn't think anything like unconsensual happened, but, who knows? Like, that was the thing is, yeah, I understand why people would be upset with it, okay? And there's a chance that he did something really bad that night, and if that's true, then he absolutely shouldn't be the coach. But, no, like, it was an allegation, right? So, there's been a history of false allegations, true allegations, whatever you want to say the percentages on each are. Like, I don't know, but he wasn't proven guilty. It was an allegation. And it was in 1999. I can't hold that against him. I understand why people would, but like the thing that I got frustrated when we hired him was people were saying that like we should hold something against him based on an allegation that was completely unproven. And there was like that whole night and that whole story was a little bit iffy. So I can't hold an allegation against him. The Chauncey Billups stuff is tricky. I understand why people would be upset. I understand why people would be upset that I don't hold the allegation against him. Whatever. Like, you can feel how you want on that, but that's completely different because nobody knows what actually happened except for Chauncey and the people that were involved.
Yeah, let me just reiterate that for the record. If you feel like because that happened and you have deemed that Chauncey should be put in that same category, that is totally legit, totally fair, and if you want to feel that way, totally fine. Like, we do not have a problem with anyone who does not like Chauncey because of this allegation. Just super tough to talk about because it happened so long ago, and it's not like the Deshaun Watson thing where there's like 27 women that accuse him of it. So like, it's hard to say that 27 people had the wrong story or just trying to get money or whatever. Like who? And I'm not saying that's what happened in the Chauncey case, but I mean, there's conflicting things because like there were some reports that came out that painted Chauncey as like for sure guilty, and like the court of public opinion was like, oh my goodness, how did he not get charged with a crime for this with all this evidence and all this? And then a few months later, the district attorney comes out and said like Chauncey was 100% proven innocent in this case, and he was not. If something happened, it was not him. And I don't know how we knew that for sure or not, but it's just conflicting sides of the story. And it's tough to navigate that or know. Whereas all this other stuff is more recent with clear-cut evidence against that person that they for sure did that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing is, like, I haven't brushed up on that whole situation. Like, I haven't even talked about that situation in over a year. So there's details of that are, like, I don't clearly remember the entirety of everything and who said what. That's why I don't really like talking about it. But because obviously don't want to misword anything or be, it's a weird thing to talk about. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully Chauncey didn't do it. If Chauncey did it, he shouldn't be the head coach of this team. Mm-hmm. But it's an allegation. The district attorney said that he thought he was innocent, and Chauncey said that it was consensual, and the woman said it wasn't. So it's whose word are you going to take? I understand taking either side.
And paying, because he was, there was a civil lawsuit which they settled out of court, but at the time, Chauncey was a rookie, a young black man in a fairly known racist city of Boston.
Yep.
And it isn't out of the realm of possibility that he paid her off to be quiet. It also isn't out of the realm of possibility that he paid her because someone told him it's better to just make this go away than to go to trial or whatever. Mm-hmm. And to just, like, whether you did something wrong or not, just give her some money and you're done with it and you never have to deal with it again. And so I could see a young rookie like Chauncey taking the advice of people that know better or have been in those situations before, and doing that. So it's tough to know. It's just such a weird thing to navigate, and I'm not trying to like say that I don't feel bad for the victim in that or whatever, because it does sound like something happened later on that evening. it's just real tough, man. I don't know.
These topics are a minefield. That's what Taylor said. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it, man. Talking about topics that are a minefield on air is just, it's tough. It's tough. But, Jason asked the question. We try and answer it. Wasn't prepared to talk about all that tonight.
I just didn't want to act like I was ignoring that question because it is a valid question.
It is. It absolutely is. That's why we're going to try and answer it. So, shout out to Alvaro Bazan, $5 dono. He says, "Never mind. I take everything back. Udoka allegedly is a dirtbag. Props to the Celtics doing this coming off a finals appearance." Exactly, Alvaro. I think he donated that before I started giving the Celtics props. Good to see Alvaro too, man. Welcome back, Alvaro.
I was talking with several people in chat before you came on, and Alvaro was saying man, the Celtics handled this poorly. They should have just kept it under the rug or whatever. And I was like, wait till we talk first, Alvaro. So no.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just weird. It's just weird on the surface, to see that he's suspended for the season because of consensual relationship. It's like, what? Right? Mm-hmm. But then you start looking into it. It's a complicated thing, but it's justified. It's justified. But that's what we're here to do, to try and explain why we think it's justified and that sort of thing, right? We're here to try and explain basketball and the CBA and all sorts of stuff, but we'll also try and explain, why we think the suspension is justified. So hopefully everything made sense to you guys. Shout out to Caleb Pendergraph, $5 dono. He says, "This has made it even more awkward given that the assistant coach that is replacing Udoka for the moment was arrested DV at one point. Domestic violence. I didn't know that."
Yeah, apparently there was something from 2009 for the guy they had replace him. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Probably not a good look either.
No.
I don't know anything about it other than some people were saying on Twitter that he has a domestic violence arrest. I don't think he was ever convicted.
He got in a bar fight.
Who knows what happened, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Depends on, what exactly it was, and it's 13 years ago, and I don't know. It's hard to know what is acceptable in terms of redemption for public figures from stuff like that. I mean, for me, I'll just err on the side of, there's a bunch of people that are qualified to be the head coach for a season that haven't done anything bad in the past. So that don't have a domestic violence charge in the past. So that's what I kind of lean on. But a kid in college gets in a bar fight. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the details on that, but on the surface, that doesn't sound like he should not be the head coach because of that. So, I mean, maybe there's other, it depends on what the other details are, but I'll look into that after the stream. Mm-hmm. That is awkward, though, for them to...
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Connor, he said they should just put Brad Stevens back on the bench.
That's what I thought,
might have been a good solution, maybe, but...
I mean, Brad Stevens still would be one of the best coaches in the league. I like Brad Stevens as a coach. Anyway, thank you for donating, DC, Alvaro, Caleb, and Connor. Eric, I'm tired of talking about this. You want to talk about a trade?
Yeah. Real quick, let's just say Christopher Galway says, "Hey, I mostly lurk, but excited to follow the season with you guys again." And we are excited that the season is almost here. So thanks for saying that, because Tori and I are both so excited to actually talk about basketball. That I didn't mind the tank last season, but as someone who likes to analyze the game and think about it a little deeper, and I'm sure Tori will say the same thing, it was pretty brutal not getting to care about games and what the plays they're running and schemes.
It's not even the X's and O's, but it's the storylines too. What was the storyline last year for the last 3 months? Well, I hope we lose every freaking game.
Yeah. No, don't make that three. No, nice shot, but don't make any more.
Yeah, it was we had that 4-game winning streak and everybody's all excited, and our post-game stream's popping off because people are happy, and I'm just sitting there yeah, this is fun, but we're probably going to regret this. If we lost those 4 games, we would have had a top 3 pick, right? I don't know. We would have been a 23-win team instead of 27-win team. So I was like sitting there like, this probably isn't good, and people thought I was being a bummer on the post-game stream. That's basically what it was, is I couldn't even get excited for a 4-game winning streak when everybody else was, because I knew it was going to be a situation where like, yeah, well, in the future, we're going to probably wish we lost these games. That sucks. That started in February. It's September right now, man. Not only was this the longest off season for this channel, because we started in 2019, right? And like that off season was just like, oh, I'm figuring out how to stream and like use Photoshop for the first time, right? And so that didn't even feel like an off season. 2020, we had the bubble year, basketball in August. That was just crazy. 2021, it was 1 month shorter last off season. So this is like the first full off season where like I'm actually making consistent videos and doing all that. And now it's like I'm not trying to learn Photoshop. I'm trying to, become Chris at Photoshop, right? So it's been the off season's been a grind. Like now I'm trying to learn animations and stuff. I'm just trying to make things better for you guys. But dude, it doesn't feel like a 4-month off season. It feels like a 7-month off season. The last time we talked about basketball that mattered in X's and O's was like early February, maybe late January, because in February it was like, well, this season's lost. I mean, the last time Dame played was December.
Yeah. I feel like we had that COVID outbreak in December. I feel like that's when it just got off the rails. And we had some exciting times watching Ant play and stuff. But yeah, from that point forward, the season just seemed, yeah.
Is Sude in here? Random question. Sude, are you in chat? I want to see if Sude's in chat. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I got some things planned. We'll talk about some channel stuff in a little bit, okay? We're going to take your guys' questions and talk about, like, just channel ideas and thoughts out loud. I tweeted one today, which was just an out loud thought. It wasn't really something that I'm seriously considering, but I don't know. Would have to figure it out. But first, we got to talk about a trade, Eric.
Yeah. Sude's name pops up. I don't know if he's listening, though.
Sude's name? Well, he typed earlier in chat. I just want to see if Sude's listening. Sude, say what's up if you're in chat. Anyway, this trade, Eric.
Yeah.
What the hell just happened? You know what's funny is, have you seen Romps and Gabe's thumbnails lately where they put "wait what" in the thumbnail all the time? Have you seen those?
I saw you put that in the description.
Yeah, I put it in this. I almost put it in the thumbnail because "wait what" for the Ime thing and the Bogdanovic thing was like, I thought this would be the perfect stream to put "wait what," but I cringed so hard. I hate tags like that, so I didn't put it in the thumbnail. I put it in the description. But "wait what" was my reaction to this freaking trade. So Bojan Bogdanovic has been on the trade block, like pretty much knew he was going to get traded. The Jazz are tanking and pawning off all their pieces for first-round picks, or so we thought. The Jazz trade Bojan Bogdanovic to the Detroit Pistons. Like, we were looking at, teams trying to contend and make a playoff run, like those are the teams that are going to trade for Bogdanovic, Phoenix, the Lakers, whoever, right? He gets traded to the freaking Pistons for Kelly Olynyk, Saben Lee, and then was there even any picks attached?
No picks. That's it. Just
Saben Lee and Kelly Olynyk. What the hell, dude? People complain that the Blazers didn't hire Danny Ainge for GM, and I've been a Cronin critic at times, but I mean, this is just this trade makes no sense from Utah's perspective, dude.
Well, yeah.
You get your big man, I guess, but you're trying to tank and you get nothing. And you probably could have gotten a first back from someone and you get back Saben Lee.
Yeah, so Bogdanovic was thought of to have a lot of suitors. And this is a guy who, he's not the greatest defensive player, below average defender. But, I mean, in his time in Utah, he averaged around 18 points a game on pretty dang good shooting efficiency or shooting splits. So this is a guy who can score the ball and shoot the ball, which is something that a lot of teams need still. And so the rumor was that they turned down first-round picks from other teams because they were going to be late teams. or late first, i.e. the Suns probably, because they wanted to not take back future salary, which is weird because a lot of the players that have been rumored to be trade bait from the Suns are players like Jay Crowder and Dario Saric, who are on expiring contracts. So,
and you can flip Jay Crowder for probably a second or two.
Right, yeah. So I don't really understand why they chose this one when they could have probably gotten expirings from another team with that late first and accomplished the same thing. But maybe he just didn't want to trade him to a West team for some reason. But
I mean, but you're tanking for like the next 3 years probably, so why would you care about?
And also, like, why not just keep him for a little bit? And if this is the best you can get, I don't know.
It makes no sense. If we were Utah fans, we'd be ranting.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had clips queued up of some of my rants. Like, you guys, if you haven't watched my greatest rants video from the offseason, you should go back and find that on the main channel and watch it back. That was a fun video to put together. It's just my greatest rants, and we need to do Eric's at some point. Just never got around to it. Or we can do your greatest moments, Eric. Because I feel like you for a while ranted maybe more than I do, but then in like the past 8 months, it's like I feel like I've ranted a lot more than you.
Yeah,
I've like taken over the yeah, you're all chilled, you know, like zen, and I'm just sitting here like, we don't got no assets, and you're raging and stuff. So that's the thing. When I went to put 2 years together, it's like, dang, I really was the one ranting on almost every stream. Crap.
I mean, the biggest bummer of recent memory was the stream after the Pelicans beat the Clippers to make the playoffs, and therefore us not getting a second lottery pick in that we were both looking very much forward to. And we knew that scenario was going to play out, and then just the Pelicans still having a lottery pick with the Lakers pick, man, that was so frustrating. But like, yeah. I mean, we had already ranted about it like 20 times. So.
But I ranted on that stream like crazy.
Yeah, it just didn't feel.
And you were just like,
and then.
Yeah. Well, also on that stream, I lost my voice because I was raging at the game. I was so upset. Like, I was more into that game than any Blazer game the course of the entire season. Mm-hmm. And I was so frustrated. Like, I lost my voice a little bit, right? I kind of growled at the loss for the Clippers, and yeah. Anyway, I was probably a little bit too, I probably shouldn't have been yelling at the TV. I was so frustrated, man. Me not having my voice for that stream, I feel like made the rants better, though. It was like that Stephen A quality, like gravelly quality. Voice, yeah. So maybe I just need to consistently lose my voice and damage my vocal cords just for you guys, right? Then maybe that would be a good sacrifice. I don't know. Kind of care about my personal life, though. I don't know.
You have to have someone come and, like, punch you in the face right before you go.
Oh, hell yeah. Who wants to come punch me in the throat and punch me in the face so that my face can be red right when the stream starts and my voice can be gone? And then I can give you guys some Stephen A. Smith, but it's going to be facts, though. It's not going to be BS that he, like, actually, it's not actually his opinion on it, right? It'll be legitimate. But, yeah, if we were Jazz fans, like, I wish I had clips queued up from, like, some of my rants, because they would be perfect to play. Because if we were Jazz fans, I would be ranting about this, because this trade is terrible for them. That's my entire point.
Bonnie volunteered to come and punch you in the throat.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, cool. I bet Bonnie punches
Taylor.
hard, too. Taylor, you can do my hair before streams. It would be like a makeup artist, but just for my hair, because, you know. Anyway, what?
Yeah, well, part of me, I was already, because it was right around that time when I said the Grant thing that he was going to for sure come here, right? So, like, part of me had already given up on the idea that we were just going to overpay for Grant, and, like I just had, like, a resigned attitude, and so, when we ended up getting Grant for just that Milwaukee pick, it ended up being a wash. And then, so like, I wasn't as mad as I would have been, because I feel like if we would have gotten the 12th pick and then traded it, that would have just made us rant even more, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it all worked out kind of, but yeah, it's just, yeah. I guess there was never anything that happened that got me too worked up.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little upset of getting hard capped, but that wasn't necessarily because we signed Gary Payton. It was just puzzling to do it.
Yeah. So like if you guys recently found the channel or this channel, maybe you don't even know that we have a main channel, Blazers Uprise, where we do most of our stuff. Like you should go search that, because we do videos and post-game streams over there on the main channel. This is the second channel. But if you like recently found us, you don't even know what we're talking about, definitely go back and watch either like my greatest rants video or the off-season recap, which is actually the video that plays if you go to the main channel's like homepage. It's a 34-minute video. Honestly, probably the favorite video I've made. Like, I had music that fit the mood and that sort of thing, and recorded it somewhere else, and it was fun. So, you know, you can see us rant when we don't agree with things, and then you can decide if you still want to watch us, because some people don't like it.
Yeah.
Caleb, shut up. Yeah, I heard Caleb. No, you donated. I'll give you a pass on that one. Yes, there's a main channel. Yeah, so this trade just makes no sense. I don't know. Like, do you like it for Detroit?
It's fine. I would like it if they were doing it to then flip Bogdanovic later, which still could happen, but this is why. I mean, both GMs are frustrating a little bit, but Troy Weaver, the GM of Detroit, I felt like he had such a good offseason. You know, he gets lucky with Jaden Ivey falling to 5, and then he trades a Milwaukee 2025 first and gets Jalen Duren out of this draft, and just for taking on some salary and stuff. And I felt like he played that really well, and I really liked the young team they were building. And then, but like, he just can't help himself that he needs like veterans, and he needs like a move to try and make them better right now, whereas like I don't feel like they need to speed up that process right now. And so like it's just, you know, like 2 years ago when he signed like Plumlee, and like last offseason he signed Olynyk, and like just some of those moves didn't make sense. Like Corey Joseph all year got minutes over some of their younger point guards and stuff. They can't seem to like just go all into this. Like, you got Cade, Ivy, Duren, Sadiq Bey, Beef Stew. Like, go on that. Like, don't quit trying to like put other veterans, like older players, in the mix. Like, find a younger version of Bogdanovic. But at the same time, you know, they didn't really give up anything for him, so I can't really be mad at them.
If they gave up like second round picks or a first round pick especially, like if they give up like young assets, which are picks or young players, obviously, if they gave that up for a veteran in Bogdanovic, it wouldn't have made sense. But you clear the starting center spot for Jalen Duren. I think he should be the starter, right? And then you get a 4, which is what they needed, right? You got Ivy, you got Cade Cunningham, you got Sadiq Bey. That's point guard, shooting guard, small forward. That's a lot of size too. Like, that could be switchable. Like, that could be interesting. Offensively talented. All 3 players have a different style of play on the offensive end, right? And then Duren's like your lob target for Ivy and Cunningham to throw lobs to. Now you got the starting 4 that's going to space the court for them. I mean, that could, if Cade Cunningham takes that next step, if Ivy can be what people think he can potentially be as a rookie, and then Jalen Duren can just protect the rim and be a lob target, Sadiq Bey can maybe be a little bit more efficient with more talent around him, and then you bring in Bogdanovic, that could be a sneakily solid starting lineup in the East. Like, Detroit's kind of at the bottom, but the bottom feeders in the East in the past 2 years, Eric, have like taken such a leap because it was Cleveland. Look at them now. It was New York. They were a bottom feeder, and then they randomly get home court advantage. Now they flamed out, but they're still like a team. They're not how bad they were in the past. Like, I think they won, 35, 37 games last year or something like that, somewhere around there, right? You look at Detroit's still a bottom feeder, but The starting lineup is much better than they've had in the past, and it's young, right? You got Orlando, who has Banchero now. They have Wendell Carter Jr., who you should absolutely not underrate. Like, he's one of the most underrated young, good big men in the league. You got Franz Wagner, who looks phenomenal right now. You got Jalen Suggs, the 5th pick from last year. If he takes a jump and, like, kind of becomes what he's supposed to be. The bottom feeders in the East are solid, man. Like, Utah and Houston and probably OKC are worse than any team in the East, in my opinion. Unless I'm forgetting someone. Who am I forgetting?
All the Pacers are kind of going.
Yeah, I think the Pacers are worse team. You got Halliburton, you got Buddy Hield still, you got Miles Turner. Isaiah Jackson looked good last year. I mean, like...
I'm not saying they don't have talent. They're just going the opposite direction for now.
They are. Yeah. They are. Absolutely. But, like, they still have more talent than your... Yeah, Mathurin, Duarte. Like, that's the thing is those teams still have more talent than the bottom feeders in the East had, like, 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know how that happened, but it's like... Dude, it's getting to the point where you have more parity at the top. The top of the league's more wide open. The best team in the East, supposedly going into next season, doesn't have their coach because of all this, right? So it's like wide open at the top, and the bottom is more competitive. So I think it's a situation where it's like any team can lose any given game, and that's the thing in like the NFL. It hasn't been a thing in the NBA. This season, it might be.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited.
Very interesting, yeah. I'm excited too, man.
Yep. Let me think.
Gray Hughes with a couple.
Yeah. Gray Hughes with a $5 and a $10 dono. That's $15 of donos. Thank you, Gray. I appreciate your support as always. The first message says, work can be a great place to meet someone, but if it doesn't work out, it can be a disaster, even if at the same level. Just use apps, LOL, says Gray Hughes with a $5 dono. Yeah, just meet people in real life outside of your workplace. That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it, because apps are just... don't get me started on dating apps, all right? We're not going to go there on this stream. But thank you for the $5 dono. And then he has a $10 dono that says, is it possible our GM has a contingency regarding the Pelican pick with the Pistons? Like, regardless of what pick they get, they will get the Pelicans or Milwaukee, and it was Detroit that took the risk? That's a good question for Eric.
No, because from what I was told, and there are people like Jake L. Fisher that will back this up with some of his reporting, the Blazers offered Josh Hart and that potential lottery pick to the Pistons at the trade deadline for Jeremy Grant.
Wait. That was true? I thought that was false. Wait, what?
Well, Jake L. Fisher reported that the Blazers tried to make that a 3-team trade and then approached them again at the deadline a few days later by offering both Hart and that pick to them.
No, I don't want to believe that. I do not want to believe that at all, man.
Well,
I'm just gonna say Jake Fisher's line. I do not want to believe that that's true.
If that happened if that happened at the trade deadline, would that have surprised you though, with how the moves that have been made that week already?
No, I would have, dude. I ranted hard at the trade deadline around that time, man. I don't know if I would have had enough rant left in me to rant about how we traded CJ straight up for Jeremy Grant with 1 year left on his contract. Dude, like...
yeah, so... But
CJ's a noticeably better player than Jeremy Grant, okay? Like, he's knows... Even on ESPN's terrible top 100 list, which was terrible, by the way, right? My top 100 was better. They still had CJ McCollum 40 spots ahead, and they had CJ below, like, Tyrese Maxey. They had CJ, like, 45. Right? In the past, they've had CJ at 13, which is also ridiculous. But, dude, CJ's better than Jeremy Grant. If it's a situation where we traded CJ straight up for Jeremy Grant, if Cronin really tried to do that, when he could have potentially had Josh Hart in the 11th pick, dude, no. Yeah. No. I'm not going to believe that. I don't want to.
But but that's why when I came, like, people, have since tried to discredit this, but like when I said that Jeremy Grant was going to use leverage to get his way here, and it was pretty much a done deal. That's why that was so important, because the Detroit Pistons were asking for like 2 firsts or whatever at the deadline, and that's why they declined that, because they didn't want Josh Hart. They wanted 2 firsts, not just 1 first out of that. So the fact that this all changed because Jeremy Grant and Damian Lillard decided they wanted to play together, and Jeremy Grant had 1 year left on his deal. That's what changed the whole dynamic of it. But before that dynamic changed and Jeremy Grant actually wanted to be here, like we talked about prior to that stream, Jeremy Grant did not want to leave Detroit. He wanted to stay there. He did not want to be traded. And that kind of inflated what Detroit thought they could get for him at the deadline. And yeah, so Detroit actually blew it by not trading him at the deadline, I think.
I just don't want to believe that's true.
I mean, it worked out good. Like, we could say it's a win, right? Like, we don't have to worry about hypotheticals.
He just gets lucky and gets to keep Josh Hart.
Yeah.
He was trying to trade Josh Hart and the Pelicans pick, and then the Pelicans pick got worse, and he could trade that without Josh Hart because Grant wanted to go there. But it's like, if Grant wanted to go there, like, why were you trying to sell out for... what? I don't know. Jake Fisher has been spot on with some stuff, and some other stuff seems fishy. No pun intended.
At the deadline, Grant did not want to leave Detroit. He did not want to be traded.
I mean, just like, like, a good GM there is just like, Dame, keep hammering away at him. That's your guy. You want him to play here. Like, we can always revisit this in the offseason, and, like, we don't have to make this trade right now because we're trying to freaking lose to tank anyway. Like, we don't need to rush this deal right now. Right? And you keep trying to get him to come here. That's what a smart GM does. Like, that's very logical. That's yeah, if that's your guy you want to go get in Jeremy Grant, that's what you do. And you try and figure out how you can keep Josh Hart, and you don't rush a deal like, oh, we are desperate to make this happen now, even though we're tanking the rest of the season and probably won't play him.
Let me put this another way. Before we lost the Pelicans pick, if you would have told Cronin that we were not getting that pick, he would have thought we were going to have to change the protections on the Chicago pick to get Jeremy Grant. So I think he would admit that there's no way he thought that the 2025 Milwaukee was going to get it done prior to the situation changing.
I mean, but like we even said that there's probably some goodwill with Grant turning down Denver for the same contract to go into Detroit. He has a good relationship with Detroit's front office. We were talking about that for months leading up to the trade deadline. Like, how would Cronin not know that? It'd be like, okay, well, if you can get him to want to come here, then we won't have to get absolutely fleeced again.
But like I said, that goodwill for Jeremy Grant, in Jeremy's mind at that point, he was using that to have them not trade him because he wanted to stay in that situation.
Yeah, well, in that case, like, okay, fine, we don't get Jeremy freaking Grant. It's not like now, this year, we are contenders right now because we got Jeremy Grant. And guess what? We still have Josh Hart. We're still not contenders, and we still got Josh Hart, and we got Jeremy Grant. Right? Like, if he was the missing piece to a contender, sure, overpay for him because it gets you to contention, and then, like, yeah, you're a top 2-3 seed or something, and you have a chance of making a run. Like, okay, cool. And maybe the Blazers can get there this season, but it's not something that people should necessarily expect. It's like, dude, okay, fine, move on and figure out something else. Overpay for Anunoby then or something. You know what I mean? Like, you'll have other options in the offseason. You don't rush a deal that you don't need to make because you're tanking the rest of the year at the deadline and give up more assets, and then, like, you can make that deal happen in the offseason. You can wait and see, and maybe Jeremy Grant changes his mind. Guess what? He did. If he doesn't, okay, well, don't give up Josh Hart and the 12th pick or whatever for Jeremy Grant. Like, that's basically what he was trying to do. Which, well, if that's true, I don't want to say it's true because I don't know, and I don't want it to be true. If that's true, man, like, just, that's terrible.
The thing is, you know what saved us?
What saved us?
Detroit was actually like Weaver was actually the one worried about that pick not conveying. So, yeah, that thank you to Weaver for thinking that pick was going to turn out to be bad, possibly, and yeah.
And then he still gets the bad pick, and then doesn't get Josh Hart.
And then he ends up taking it anyway.
That's the thing, is like that whole thing of it is like, I don't know. That might not be true.
Well,
that might not be true. I just want to reiterate that.
To be fair to Detroit, having Jeremy Grant traded with no contracts back did allow them to get Jalen Duren because they were able to take back that salary in the trade with Kemba Walker and Nerlens Noel and all those guys. So they wouldn't have gotten Duren if they didn't do that trade and were able to take on salary, because they wouldn't have been able to take on that salary had they not done it.
But that's, Eric, that's what would be so stupid about Cronin trying to trade Harts and the first for Jeremy Grant. It'd be stupid because the whole part of the CJ trade is they made a traded player exception big enough for Jeremy Grant to help them not have to give up a bunch, because, Detroit, here you go. You get $20 million of salary savings that you can use elsewhere, right? That was a big part of the CJ trade.
Yeah.
So that's why if he was really selling out the Pelicans pick and Josh Hart for Grant, when the big part of the CJ trade was to create a traded player exception to absorb Jeremy Grant, what?
Well, here's why. So from Detroit's point of view, they could have potentially either traded Hart again this summer, or we know that Hart had that team option or whatever, so they could have used him as an expiring salary. I don't know why they would have, but they could have still dumped that salary even if they took on Hart in the offseason. But from the Blazers' point of view, what were they talking about during that time? What was the key word there?
I don't even remember, dude. They've been all over the map that I can't remember what.
Flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Look at all this cap space and
we got Eric Bledsoe's contract, which only has $4 million guaranteed. So, guess what? That could have matched Jeremy Grant without the TPE.
But so here's the deal, though. With that trade, if we didn't have Hart's contract, because at the time we talked about this, we weren't going to waive Hart. So that was what was dumb about having $60 million in cap space or whatever, right? We weren't going to waive Hart. We weren't going to let Simons walk. We weren't going to let Nurk walk. We had no cap space.
And even if we did all that, we wouldn't have gotten to 60 anyway.
But in their mind, if they get Hart but don't have to take on any other contracts in that deal, so they're basically downgrading a $30-some million contract in CJ's to a $21 million contract in Grant's. We have more flexibility, right? Because we don't have hardly any contracts on our roster this summer heading into it, and maybe we could have possibly gotten to that a larger cap space situation. But I mean, it didn't play out that way. But that was their mindset at the trade deadline, was just trying to create as much flexibility as possible.
Yeah, honestly, I think the offseason was solid, okay? But I'm actually really, really happy with it, because the alternative would have been it being just god-awful, right? So, I'm happy with solid. That's sad. It's a low bar for Cronin. I don't trust Cronin, man. I hope that that's not true. If that's true,
ever since,
if it comes to a situation where we need a piece to get over the top, man, oh God, I don't trust him to negotiate or do anything right.
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that he learned a lot during that week of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And that now he is more prepared. All his moves this summer would seem to indicate that. I mean, you can question some.
He had a solid summer. But overall, he had, at bare minimum, a solid summer.
Right.
But, Eric, he's been in the front office for 15 years. Shouldn't he have learned before this?
I mean, we both know there was some other stuff at play that week too, so I don't know. Maybe they.
See, this is why, guys. Okay, right? I'm starting to rant about this stuff, but this is why I'm excited for the freaking season, okay? Because we're finally past all this, and the roster is exciting, and the summer was solid. The trade deadline was a mess, but we're coming out of this like we have a team we can get excited about that has some upside. If they can figure things out on the defensive end, you got some fun players that'll be fun to watch on this team. And I think Chauncey's going to coach them to play a fun style of basketball, right? So it's like we've been through just an absolute mess since the trade deadline. Since the first trade, the Clippers trade, happened on February 4th, okay? It's September 22nd, so we're talking about 7 months and, like 18 days, like 7.5 months later. Finally, it's like, well, we get some basketball, we get some fun, okay? That's why I'm excited for the season too. We had to cover tank, we had to cover terrible trades, we had to question going into the offseason. We had a decent offseason. Okay, cool. Now you get to see Jeremy Grant in a Portland Trailblazer uniform play alongside Josh Hart, thank goodness. Maybe Shaedon Sharpe, that whole storyline's fun. Jabari Walker, that whole storyline is fun, right? The two fun rookies. Nasir Little, potential breakout season. Ant, what can he do next to Dame? Like Gary Payton II, can he really make that big of an impact on our defense? The style of basketball we're going to play. We have people that fit that and will probably embrace that. So we get to see a different style of basketball for the first time in years. Mm-hmm. Lots to look forward to. Lots of fun storylines. That's why we're thrilled going into the season. I am more happy going into this season, even though I'm not as high on the roster as I was going into last season. Mm-hmm. Because my expectations aren't super high. Like if this team is a 7th seed, like right now, that's probably where I'd project them. Cool, but it's going to be fun. Like highs and lows, it's going to be fun, more so than any other season. All right, so I'm looking forward to it
for sure. I think still the one big question mark to me is what happens if Nurk goes down for any period of time. Knock on wood.
Let me don't start thinking about Nurk being injured, man.
I still feel like
he's like I'm gonna kill the flow.
It's like setting the team up for disaster by needing him to stay healthy for the entire season. Hopefully he is, but I still feel like we're in trouble if that happens. Well, but as long as he doesn't get hurt, I think we're going to be really good.
Well, question: what do the Jazz plan on doing with Kelly Olynyk?
All right, so this is so Jason Joseph has a question in chat. What would be a fair but not over the pay type trade to bring in Vanderbilt and Olynyk? I don't know what you had in mind, Tori, but as of right now, that would take basically we'd have to send out Josh Hart and Winslow and some sort of, I don't know if they would go to Utah necessarily.
I ain't trading Josh Hart. Huh? I ain't trading Josh Hart. I'm not trading Josh Hart.
Yeah,
I'm aboard. I'm full aboard. I'm all aboard. I had Josh Hart in my top 100. Dude, like I like Josh Hart to me is the perfect freaking role player. Yeah. And when he's like the guy, he averaged 20 a game efficiently for us last season. Yes, that was on a tanking team, but he shot 37% from 3, attacks the rim really well. Like, he's, just an all-around player, and when it's needed, he can, he has the ability to kind of take over games. Now, I don't trust that on a team with more talent, but we don't need him to do that. He's a role player. He plays defense. He can knock down enough threes. He can pass at a shooting guard small forward spot. He defends players well that are bigger than him. He rebounds. And then he can score when it's needed. Like, that's the perfect type of player. That's the type of player that championship teams have. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't even necessarily have to start, especially if Nasir Little takes a jump. You could have that type of player off your freaking bench. Yeah, I'm not trading him. Like, that's like the type of guy I've dreamed to have off the bench for years. And yeah, I'm not trading him. But you'd have to trade him in that type of package. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is, how do we match that salary without trading him that? to anyone asking. That's the problem.
The only way you could get Olynyk is if he got bought out.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's going to happen.
No. Yeah. So, yeah, that's
Olynyk and Vanderbilt actually fit well next to each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to think about those kind of things. Vanderbilt, if Ainge somehow got the Bogdanovic mindset and traded him for nothing, that might be someone that the Blazers could get. But with his contract, there's just so many more suitors, and I don't see why Ainge would give him away like that to reduce salary or something. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yep. But I am one of the biggest Josh Hart fans of the fan base, man. Like, I love that dude's game. Yeah. I was talking about how I loved his game before we traded for him, like months before. If somebody can go back, Trevin, where you at, Trevin? If somebody can go back and look at like,
I think I was saying that before you.
Well, we were trying to identify guys that could be dogs, and I think you brought them up, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. We were both on board the Josh Hart train. Like, even when we thought we might keep CJ, we were on board the Josh Hart train. Like, even when we thought the team might look completely different than it looks now, we were on board the Josh Hart train, man. We've been on board the Josh Hart train. If somebody can find the stream where we were advocating for Josh Hart, like, early in the season last year, that'd be awesome. Trevin's like our guy that just finds that stuff magically. I don't know how. But, yeah, we've been on board the Josh Hart train, man.
Yep. But yeah, I still think he's going to be our sixth man.
Dude, I'm cool with that, dude. Like, play him 30 minutes a game off the bench, and he can literally play any role. Like, I think he's a good enough shooter to play off the ball. He can cut. He can attack. He can pass. He can rebound. Like, he's so underrated to me, man. I don't understand, like, how this dude comes to... Like, he is already averaging, like, 14 points per game, and then doing all that extra stuff, doing all the little stuff, plays hard, right? Great locker room guy. And then he comes to Portland, and he averages 20 a game, and it's like, how is that not a top 100 player, man? That's what pissed me off about, like, ESPN's rankings. It's like, how is that not a top... That's a top 100 player in the league.
Yeah.
He's underrated. I don't get it. And it's like... Yeah, no, he's perfect. You got him and Gary Payton II off the bench. I mean, and then Ant's going to stagger and run the bench lineup, and then you got, who knows who the 4 and 5s are. Like, that's where the question marks for the bench come in, but shoot, man, that's fun. I'll take it, absolutely. Like, people loved Chauncey Ball when you had Justice Winslow starting with Josh Hart and, Nurkic and Simons, and we looked great. Right? You're going to have Chauncey Ball with Josh Hart, Simons, Gary Payton II, Winslow, probably at the backup 4, and then Eubanks. There you go.
Hey, Tori, can you do earmuffs for a second?
Earmuffs?
Yeah.
Like, take out my headphone?
No, just, like, cover your ears for a second. Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Well, I got a headphone in my ear.
I want to say something, but you're not going to want to hear it, so...
Bro, no. Well, I want to hear it because you said I don't want to hear it.
All right. This is the chat. Tori, you can take your haterade somewhere else after this. After I say this, I'm just messing with you.
Chat, what is Eric on right now?
I heard from another source that
oh god, not a source, that
Nas is him and that he looks amazing in these runs they're doing at the practice facility.
Your source did not say Nas is him. Unless your source is Reese Cooley, but Reese Cooley ain't your source.
No, Reese isn't my source.
Nas is him, huh?
I'm just saying, like, there's another person that told me that that Nas has been dominant.
Bro, man, why would I not want to hear that? I want Nas to dominate. Man.
I know.
I
was messing with you, Tori.
No. Here's what's gonna happen. If he does, people are gonna say, "See, Tori, you were wrong. Look how good he is." I never said he can't do anything. I said he just needs to prove it consistently. But I think he can.
Hater.
And somehow, if he does, I'm wrong. But that's what's gonna happen, man. Like, I literally said it specifically like that, like 20 million times. Good chat's popping off right now. I literally said it like that 20 million times so that people hopefully wouldn't take it out of context and see, you were wrong. You said he couldn't do this, which I never did. But it's still gonna happen, Eric.
I can't wait till your player preview on Nas.
That's probably gonna get the most views out of all of them, I bet, man. I don't care if everybody in chat and everybody in the fan base disagrees with me. If I feel like, if I have an opinion, I'm gonna say it. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Okay. Like, I'm not afraid for you guys to disagree with me. I literally came onto the scene being that guy that hates Terry Stotts and, you know, thinks Stotts is a clown and all this stuff while everybody loved him, right? So I've never been afraid for the majority of people to disagree with me, okay? That's why this platform got started, or this platform got off the ground, because there's people in this fan base that didn't really like Stotts and everybody else did, but like every other outlet was like, Stotts is a great coach, blah blah blah, right? So never been afraid for y'all to disagree with me. I'm gonna be honest, okay? And I'm being honest when I say I never said he can't do anything, all right? I never said he can't average 30 a game, all right? Just remember that.
Yeah. For me, I just hope he stays healthy, because that's been every time he seems to be starting to, you know, show some consistency. He's gone down with an unfortunate injury, so hopefully this is the year he stays on the court. And I mean, overall, I think we have enough depth between some of the young guys and some of the veterans, but to overcome some injuries on the wing. But yeah, I just hope he can have a healthy year and prove it on the court.
Yep, absolutely. Trevin, clip this, okay? Trevin, clip it. For the record, I never said that Nas cannot be him. There you go. All right, I'm going to tweet that on. Dude, I will literally have that queued up for streams. And people say, see, look at Nas, he scored 45 tonight. You were wrong, and I'll just play this.
You never said he could be him either.
I said we're going to find out. So, Taylor, here you go, man. Congratulations to Taylor.
Taylor said he got his dream job, assuming he got some sort of job with the bots.
Oh, man. Dude, we can never make Taylor a mod because he would unhide him. But, who does that work on? Like, who puts in all that effort to, like, make this a thing and, like, it actually works? I don't understand. I don't understand bots like that. Mm-hmm. Where's the upside for the person to, like, create all that? Doesn't make sense. But, what was I going to say? Dang it, I got distracted by the bot.
Shame.
Yeah, I completely forgot. Anyway, we'll take questions, life advice, channel questions, all that type of stuff, and we'll talk like channel going into next season. Tori, say it. Say what? Say what, Brady? I don't know what you want me to say.
He said it in his next comment.
I mean, I can't lie to you. I'm not going to say something because you tell me to say something, Brady. It doesn't work like that. Now, if I told you to say something...
Eric, I believe that Nasir Little has the leg up on that right now. And if he is as good as he is being advertised by some people, then he should get that spot.
I just had to put Trevin in a 5-minute timeout, man. Yeah, dude, I haven't put anyone in a 5-minute timeout in, I think, like 2 months. Felt good. Especially to do it to a mod. And I might have to do it to another mod with how we're going here. But, yeah, we're just going to chill, take your questions, talk about the channel a little bit.
Would you trade healthy Lonzo for Anthony Simons? I would not.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. What?
Anthony's
like a potential
star
level guard, okay, for a role player, a 3-and-D point guard? Why? We need top-end talent. I've said it for years. To win games, you need top-end talent. We've had, Dame and CJ. You're not going to win by, like, trading CJ and then trading Ant and just having all these role players. Role players are great if you have like a couple guys that can score at a really high level and create at a really high level. Right now, you got that with Damon Ant. And then Grant can be that third guy. Perfect. Okay, and then you got some playmaking off the bench, some good role players. Okay, that's the type of roster construction you need. This team is like decently deep. I don't know why you trade like your second best player for 3 role players and add 2 players to the rotation that already might be at like 10, 11 guys to start the year. What, you're going to run out a 13-man rotation? Like, yeah, certain guys don't play if you have like Patrick Williams, but it doesn't make us better. Nas is at 135 pounds now. What?
For people asking for more details, there's no more details. Just the buzz around the practice facility is that he's looking really good. So.
He is him.
He is
that
him.
is the quote.
Yep.
There, you can like clip that out of context, Brady. You kind of get your wish. Brady asks, Eric, would you trade Nas straight up for Mikal Bridges? Torrey Jones is at the end of his question, but he's asking you.
I mean, Brady's asking a trade that's not possible, so the Blazers can't do that trade.
Yeah, yeah.
If they made the
CBA
same
is a
amount,
thing,
yeah.
Brady.
If they made that, if they somehow abolish the CBA, yes, you would have to make that trade.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
My mom heard Nas look good too, so that's proof.
Where'd your mom hear it from?
I don't know. Not for me. I didn't tell.
Eric's mom. Who's your source? Don't leak your source. That's you're not supposed to leak your source. Okay, Eric. Don't leak your source either, because you have a good source. All right, respect to whoever it is. Because I don't even know Eric. I don't know who Eric's source is. I don't know anything in regards to. I'm literally like you guys. Eric brings information sometimes that he's allowed to share, and I hear it along with you guys, and I'm along for the ride. For the Brant bomb or whatever we decided to call it. It wasn't Brant bomb. What did we decide on?
It was like Eric's exclusives or something.
Nah, that doesn't have enough, like, it needs to be spicy.
I forgot what it was. Yeah, I forgot what it was.
Chat, what was the name we agreed on for Brant's bombs, which we can't use because Woj has it copyrighted? Tori doesn't know Eric. Quincy, I trust Eric's mom more than myself, too. Brant's bullseye. I don't know. There was something. We had a good time talking to chat about having them come up with a name.
Mom, type Nas is him in chat. Just that.
What a sentence, all right? Trevin, you got to clip that as well. That's the best sentence I've ever heard in the history of this channel. What the hell? We're all just waiting for it. Right now. That's what's happening right now. You put all this pressure on your mom. Yeah, by the way, Shouldve still hasn't shown up. I wanted to wish Shouldve happy birthday because it's his birthday, and I want everybody in chat to wish Shouldve happy birthday. And he just didn't show. He was here at the start of the stream, but I didn't notice. So I was trying to make sure he was in stream so that he'd see everybody wishing him happy birthday because I was trying to do him a solid, and he's just not in here.
Happy
and
birthday,
I messaged him on Discord. Man hasn't showed up. So, happy birthday to Shouldve. I was going to give him, a chat spam of happy birthday, but it's not going to happen. So... tough scenes. Yeah, Eric Olsen, you're not Eric's mom. All right, sorry. But yeah, happy birthday to our guy Shouldve. Anyway, let's take questions on the channel or just on Blazers or whatever for a few minutes. Then we can talk about just channel plans and kind of go into that. Actually, first let's start with one. I tweeted out, because I was just curious what you guys thought. This isn't something that I've been seriously thinking. And I haven't even talked to Eric about this. But, I tweeted out, would you guys want a pregame show next season? Okay? And I don't know. Would you guys want a pregame show next season? Probably won't do it, but I was just curious to see if you guys would want it. Right? Like, I'm just curious. So that's what that question was on Twitter. Because some people were like, "Really? You seriously consider that?" I'm not seriously considering it. It's just, I don't know. It'd be cool, but it's a lot, obviously, with a pregame show. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, Eric.
I just think back to all those streams that we had, like on a Monday when there is a game. Like, what are we supposed to say about the game? And it was, yeah.
I mean, just like keys to the game, talking about the other team, like just like a 30-minute thing, you know what I mean? Like talking with chats, making your, you know, I could make final score predictions. You know, could go over like the current scores in the NBA if it's a late game, like that sort of thing, and then just interact with chat, take a couple questions from chat. But like, I just know I wouldn't want to do it every game, and I don't know. Like, I wish we had a third or a fourth person, like on-air person, like, you know, that could maybe do some of that or whatever. Because like doing it every game would be tough for me, and I'm sure it'd be tough for you. It's just like somebody on Twitter said that, you know, our audience watches us for me and you, which is, you know, true. It's just like, that's the thing, is I'd want somebody that like the audience would enjoy. You know, it's hard to find somebody. There you go, Eric. Screw whatever I'm talking about. Mom. There you go. All right, chat. There you go. She said it. A little bit late there, but the suspense has already died down, unfortunately. But there it is. The prophet has spoken, says Brady. Absolutely. Someone screenshot it. Yeah, but those were my thoughts on a pregame show.
Thank you, Mom. Taylor, that's funny. Who's your next player preview?
My next player preview is Eubanks. I recorded Eubanks and Keon. I went somewhere in public, not going to say where, but I like to get out of the house to edit, and I forgot my headphones, so I didn't edit it, and then I had Rex, so I wasn't able to get that up today. Dude, I'm trying to learn like animations and stuff in this new software to do like some cool animation stuff for next season. I was going to do one. I did an animation for like the Greg Brown intro that only took like an hour to render, right? Which is only a 20-second intro. It's just like super intensive on the computer. I have this really cool template that I edited for Jabari Walker that looked sick for an intro. I tried rendering it. It was only at like 65-70%. After 10 hours, I started rendering it and then went to bed and then woke up 10 hours in, only like 60-70%. So I said, screw it. It's like, I can't do that for every game. I literally wasted a lot of time waiting on that animation to render, thinking it would be done when I woke up. And yeah. So I'm like slowing myself down because I've tried to do all this crazy stuff animation wise and like learn this new program. It's going to pay off in the long run, but yeah. Just try to push myself. You know what I mean? I try and push myself every season.
Max Anderson asked, are you guys going to talk about Blazers Media Day next week? Yes. No. Monday stream, Monday nights, Blazers Uprise Live right here on this channel. Our next stream on this channel will be all about Media Day from that morning or afternoon or whatever it is. Yep. So yeah, Monday night.
Yep, and then we can talk about like stuff that will come out of training camp in next Thursday's stream. And we'll talk about storylines. What were you going to say?
If we had a sex bot in here that said Nas is him, that would in the internet, I think.
What, you try to motivate someone to go make the account? And
no, it wouldn't be.
In the past, we would have. We used to have so many burners in chat. And
you couldn't fake it because I don't know. It's like they spam the bot spams. It would be obvious it wasn't a bot, like a real bot.
Yeah, you'd have to spawn at a regular or spam at a regular interval. That's the key, guys, to faking being a bot.
No one actually fake it because that would be too obvious.
Yeah, you're gonna have like 5 people. You just in the past we would have had like 5 people that would have made that account. Now we don't really have burners anymore. We used to have like a Mario Zonia burner, and you used to have a bunch of burners. Eric, you were the burner guy. Eric B ranting.
I've never had a burner in my life.
I was looking back in an old stream, and in chat there was somebody named Eric T. Drant. Yeah, like you had like 12 different burners that were all just like weird iterations of your name. Did we ever figure out who that was?
It was probably Zach.
Dude, Zach's been here from day one and has made chat extremely entertaining. Shout out to Zach.
Yeah,
but
Ben was the Eric B ranting, I think.
Oh yeah, dude, Ben doesn't even come around anymore. Nice, Taylor. It sounds believable. Yeah, so next season, I mean, pregame shows would be cool, but that wasn't really a serious like idea. It's just it would be cool to find a third person or a fourth person that like the audience would enjoy and would just fit the chemistry. It's just like obviously me and you, Eric. How many hours do you think we've streamed together?
1,000, I don't know.
At least like, well, let's do the
Probably
math.
more
It's like
than that, yeah.
2 hours per stream, and we've probably done we've done 3 seasons of post game shows plus playoffs. So that's like 82 times 3. That's 246 games with preseason.
Well, 2 of the seasons were a few games shorter.
Yeah, but like we've done preseason and we've done like play by play and whatever.
Yeah.
So you multiply that by 2 hours. That's like 500. We've done like Blazers Uprise Live. We used to do it 3 times a week, but we've done it basically twice a week for 3 years. So 52 times 3 times 2, that's 312 plus what, like 90 minutes per stream. So 1.5 hours. Yeah, it's probably right around 1,000. Probably right around 1,000. Which how many days is 1,000 hours?
Did you add these shows?
Yeah, I did. So probably like 16, 17 days worth. I don't know. Somebody should. So, Trevin, you probably know how many days have we streamed? It's probably upwards of a month, to be honest.
Do they have can you look at that?
I wish you could. I can look at. Oh, by the way, we recently for this channel plus the Blazers Uprise channel, like in the past 2 days, we reached 200 million total views. So that's cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you to all of you.
I wish there was a way to check that, like how many hours you live streamed. Like you can go through and sort them by live stream and add them all up, but that would take forever. Wouldn't be worth it unless somebody wanted to do that. But 1,000 hours is 41 days. I did 1,000 divided by 60. I'm stupid. There's 24 hours in a day. Yeah. So definitely like probably a month and a half, maybe 2 months together. So yeah, it would be hard to find like a third, fourth person. I don't know. To bring in, but it would make pregame shows possible. You know, it's just I would want it to be somebody that the audience liked and knew their stuff and that sort of thing. So it's difficult, man.
Honestly, I know a lot of people who have tried post-game shows for other teams and they never really seem to gain traction. I don't know if it'd be different for us or not, but yeah.
Or pregame shows, you mean?
Pregame shows, I have a tough go of it unless you're like already on the radio, like 620 Chad doing type thing. The people are already listening to a show at that time, but
Yeah, I mean, for later games, it would be good. And that's the thing, if we had like Blazers Uprise Live right before, we just do that instead. But I mean, dude, we're like streaming 11:43 on September 22nd. We have 125 concurrent viewers. I think that we do a good enough job that we could get viewership on a pregame show if it was us. I just don't know if we could, if it was like somebody else and you or like somebody else on their own or whatever, or bringing like a third and a fourth.
Yeah.
That's where I struggle.
I wonder. I mean, I don't know if this would do this or not, but you also have to wonder if there's some people that would then think it's just like too much of us, or like we're saturating it a little bit, you know.
Well, that's why it's nice to have the two channels, because I would do the pregame shows on this channel.
Right. Hey, there's Shouldve.
Shout out Shouldve, $10. Shouldve, why are you donating? I'm gonna have to get, dude. I'm gonna have to.
Shouldve.
I think I know where Shouldve lives. Maybe I think I need to like drop him off a present or something. But Shouldve, $10 dono says, appreciate all the work and time you put into these streams and videos. Keep it up. Thank you, Shouldve, for the $10 dono. I wanted you in chat so everybody could wish you happy birthday. All right, I wanted to give you that happy birthday spam. So chat, help me out and wish Shouldve a happy birthday. Thank you, Shouldve. Hope your birthday's been good, man. Yeah, Shouldve's a cool guy. Shouldve's a cool guy. I've gotten to know, some people, game with some people from the community, that sort of thing, and it's happy to be able to shout them out when it's their birthday. So, happy birthday to Shouldve, who I could have had a chance at the next mod spot, and he graciously gave it to somebody else that was in contention for the next mod spot. That's the type of guy Shouldve is. Shouldve is a good guy. So, anyway, yes, we will have a new mod next season. Not going to say who yet. All right? It's secret for now. But, chat, guess who you think is the next mod? All right? I want to see who you guys think. Anyway, yeah, for pregame shows, I would do them on here on Blazers Uprise Live. And then maybe for the playoffs, we'd do them on the main channel. And that way, the main channel is just videos and post-game shows. And if people don't want all the extra stuff, they don't subscribe to the second channel. That's completely fine with me. Right?
Taylor, I haven't had a chance to listen to the Chauncey pod yet.
I heard him, he sounds excited for next season. Yeah. I heard a quote. I didn't listen to the whole thing. Bonnie for mod. Bonnie would be a fun mod. Yeah, I need to. I just haven't had time, but sounds like he's excited. He was talking about how and prove that he's that guy, that he's nice, He talked a little bit about Nas. He just sounded like he was high on this roster. Sounded like he was happy about getting the types of guys that fit him as a coach, which is everything I've been saying this entire offseason. So, Gary Payton II is one of those guys. Dame's healthy. I think you mentioned that. Yeah, basically just sounds stoked for the season. And, he had a very difficult year one, man. And it's coming into this situation, brand new head coach, don't know what it's like. And then you have everything that went wrong last season. I think it's going to be a lot less. It might be more pressure this year, pressure to perform, but it's going to be easier for him, much easier for him this year. He seems more relaxed and just confident.
Mm-hmm. That's what I really hope he gets asked this question on Monday, and that's if he can take anything away from scheme-wise, whether certain schemes that he thought would work last year, whether or not you can go into this season hoping they still work, or if you learned some of the schematical things don't work in that short time, or was the season just such a mess that you weren't able to take too much from it, X's and O's wise. I just think it would be fascinating to hear what he had to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Caleb. Caleb, that's funny. Yeah, do you have anything you want to try next season with the channel or the platform or anything? I know normally you just kind of let me come up with the ideas and stuff.
I'm trying to get a series up on NBA Uprise.
Yeah, we're going to do NBA Uprise content starting in October. So, I've already planned for... yeah, that's the other thing. We're going to do NBA Uprise content. And I'm going to try and do more Blazer videos during the season. A big thing is we're going to try and get ads on post-game shows that allows me to have more time to work on videos and work on graphics and, just making it better. So that is something to hopefully expect next season, is just a couple of like, you know, there's the YouTube ads, but a couple of like ads in the show. And I'm gonna try and find like good, high quality businesses that fits the audience. You know, I don't want to like. I'm not gonna. Let's be honest here. Probably 98% of our viewer base, maybe 97%, 96, whatever. It's predominantly men or, you know, males. I'm not going to advertise makeup or something. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try and find businesses that make sense for you guys, but that will allow us to be able to, that'll allow me more time to be able to work on different things. NBA Uprise content. Eric's putting together videos with that. I'm going to help him with the graphics. He has a fun top 5 series coming up. So if you aren't subscribed to NBA Uprise, let me plug it in the chat. Definitely go subscribe. That's what I was plugging. That's why I did the top 100 series. That's the main reason why I did it, was to get some traction for NBA Uprise. So let me get you guys the link for that and put it in chat. What else, Eric?
I saw Blockboy being mentioned in chat. He had a funny tweet today about how the league is colluding against this guy Melo, and he deserves a chance. Which I agree that Melo deserves a chance. I think he's still a good enough player to be on a team, but it's not a collusion thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems to be the thing now. Is like, apparently they're colluding against Dennis Kanter as well, which, like, okay, maybe you might have a case for that. Like, that's a little different, but yeah, no, nobody's colluding to keep, like, Jamal Crawford. I've seen somebody say recently they're colluding to keep him out of the league. Like,
here's the deal: if you're a dumbass and you say a bunch of dumb things, and no one wants to sign you, they're not colluding against you. No one wants to sign you because you're a dumbass. Like, that's the thing. I don't know if you saw what he saw today, but it was disgusting what he wrote.
I don't pay attention to him.
He said something about this was karma. What's happening with the Celtics is karma for what they did to him, or something like that.
He literally took that situation and made it about him.
Yep, exactly.
The dude loves his attention.
Yep. So, like, yeah, I'm sick of that thing. It's like, no, like, I agree that Melo is good enough. Like, a few years ago when we signed him, he shouldn't have been out of the league or not signed. But there wasn't, like, the teams didn't get together and were like, oh, no one signed Melo. It was because of some of the own things he did, right? And it just drives me crazy when people, like, think the world is colluding against them when they've done stuff that makes people want to shy away from them or signing them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if Myers Leonard, after what he said on stream, came out here and started complaining about how the league's colluding against him. Well, you said what you said. You already weren't that good to begin with, and you became injury pro. But yeah, you say what you say on stream, and teams don't want to sign you to be their 12th man. Like, that's your own fault. Now, Myers has gone out and tried to redeem himself, and he's not sitting here complaining about the league colluding against him or anything, so he's not, you know, like, cool, right? He's not being colluded against, you know, just, yeah. It's like the type of people that they don't get hired for a job and they blame the people that are doing the hiring, where it's like they're just trying to find the best candidate. If you're not the best candidate, you're not the best candidate. Go and work to make yourself the best candidate. Get more experience. You know what I mean? Like, sure, maybe people hire for reasons they shouldn't. We're kind of getting back into the whole workplace thing. But, like, a lot of times it's you're probably not as good as some other candidates. Work on yourself. Don't blame other people.
See, Zach, I got to be real with you, man. You have admitted to me that you need to get back in shape and you haven't balled much. So until you can get back to the good old days, and you know, you flashed some skills when I played with you a few weeks ago, but I mean, you just got to show that old Zach where you could but quit trying to blame other people, man. Jeez. No, just kidding.
Damn, you catching strays? I didn't even see what Zach said. What the hell? This dude's just catching strays.
He asked why, like, if he was being colluded against by teams not signing him. Oh. I was just messing with him.
Yeah.
Zachary knows I love him.
If I don't pick Zach first when we're picking teams at our pickup basketball meetups, I'm colluding against him. All right, just let it be known I'm colluding against Zach.
I mean, collusion does happen. I think there was some collusion with, like, the Colin Kaepernick stuff, but yeah. Because, I mean, Cantor has done nothing to warrant getting signed by a team this year. Like, the last few years have been pretty brutal for him, so, yeah.
You would have a case if he was a star player. Guess what? If he was a star player, he'd still be in the league.
Yeah, for sure. People would put up with it.
But when you're just not good, you're not good. Like, you're not a good NBA player because you literally can't defend a freaking paperclip, okay? Sure, you can make layups. You can't shoot and you can't defend as a center. Guess what? Those centers aren't in the league anymore. Like, good luck finding a center who plays, who both can't play any defense and can't shoot the basketball. Can you think of any that have a role in the NBA next year that can't do either?
I mean, we could probably find someone, but yeah.
It's hard.
It's tough, yeah.
Like, you could say Drew Eubanks, I guess, but Drew Eubanks can play some defense, but I don't want Drew Eubanks as my backup center. You know what I mean? Like, Şengün can shoot.
What, Taylor? That comment's going to look dumb in a year or two.
Yeah, he's young and he can shoot, and, like, the thing is, he can dribble and he can pass. And this can't dribble or pass. But Şengün was actually surprisingly okay defensively last year for a rookie. That was a knock on him coming into the draft. And he has potential as a shooter. He's only 25% last year, but he has potential in that regard. And his Cantor has no potential as a shooter. Plumlee. Yeah, Plumlee, you can maybe make a case for him. But that's the thing. If they can't do either, it's like they dribble the ball really well and pass really well, right? And they're, like, athletic and can at least move their feet on the defensive end. There's no one... They're Connor, I hate you. He's not even signed, bruh. Come on, man. Yeah, like, they can do other things. What does Ennis do? He rebounds and he makes layups.
He is a very good rebounder, so I guess that's a skill, but...
Cotter, he's a free agent, but like LaMarcus Aldridge is 37.
He could still shoot.
And he can still shoot, like, at least mid-range. He was 30% from 3 last year, but he was like 38, 39% the 2 years prior. So, Pistons Blake Griffin could shoot too. Oh, I shouldn't ask this question, Eric.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm disappointed. DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't be playing any minutes. That's the thing. If DeAndre Jordan was out of the league, nobody would be batting an eye. But
yeah, it wouldn't be collusion. It would be sucked the last couple of years.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
So, no. Anyway, Chaz is going to troll now. But, yeah, next season, want to do more videos, NBA Uprise content. I will have an update video at some point, but going to try and do more animation stuff on post-game shows and, like, just make that whole thing better. I'm at the point where it's like we have, like, the perfect package in terms of, like, how we do content and, like, what we specifically do. But I always just want to add something, man. But I can't think of anything, you know? Like, we'll do the NBA Uprise stuff. But in regards to, like, the specific Blazers stuff, I struggle to come up with new things. Because I think we've kind of nailed it.
I think the only... I mean, we know this, but... I mean, if there was a way for us to do video stuff, like detailed breakdowns of that, I think that would... be the main thing that could take it to another level, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't use highlights on stream. Like, that's, you know, out of our out of our hands. That's not our decision, really. Like, there's no way for us to go. Like, if I could go and get the approval to use highlights on streams and stuff, then I'd try and do it. But there's no chance. Like, there's no chance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I could say, well, we're not using highlights anyway. But, I mean, what's in it for the NBA or whoever makes that decision? Because this is an NBA decision.
Mm-hmm.
Pasty Zach says, got to figure out YouTube Shorts now that it's monetizable. I have not done YouTube Shorts because I don't like the way it looks on the channel page. Okay? Because you can't separate it from the videos. And, like, I'm somebody... Maybe I'm too much like this, but I care so much about the aesthetic of the channel when you click on the page now. Like, how good the thumbnails look and all of that stuff. Like, I want... it to be like clean, you can tell what the videos are, the thumbnails look good, all that sort of stuff. The way like you can't make it so that it doesn't show shorts in the videos like tab of the channel page, like I don't like the way that looks. So instead I just want to do like stream highlights once a week. I know people like short form content and whatnot. Maybe I should create a shorts channel. Maybe that could help us. But, great, if you use highlights in a live stream, you can get struck. There's been channels that have gotten struck. Trust me, I've looked at this stuff, man. I've looked at using highlights. Trust me.
Well, you got dinged for the... 2 years ago, we did those draft profiles for using highlights.
Yeah, and it's just claimed.
And that wasn't even monetized, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even monetized. I got claimed. Like, that's the thing. There's two things. There's a claim where, like, they let you keep the video up. They just make the revenue off the video. And then there's getting struck, which would restrict me from streaming for, like, a week on any channel. I don't think I could post a video for a week on any channel. If I get another strike in the following 90 days, then I can't do it for, like, months. And if I get a third strike, everything gets terminated. Like, why risk all that, and then lose, like, the ad revenue when there's a chance that in using it streams, like, people do highlight videos, full highlight videos, but in the past, it's like you couldn't make it over 9 minutes and 45 seconds. That's why all the full highlight videos were under that. I think that might have changed now, but that was a thing in the past where if you made it, like, 12 minutes, you could get struck. Like, some channels got struck. So it's just like, I'm showing it on a 2-hour live stream. Like, there's probably something in regards, because there's automatic bots. There's automatic systems in place that can recognize when copyright content on YouTube is being shown in a video or a live stream. And you can get automatically claimed, or you can get automatically copyright striked. Okay? If you show NBA highlights on stream, there's a good chance that the automatic system in place thinks that you are streaming the game or a game, especially if it's like a 1.5 hour, 2-hour live stream, and you could get struck. So that's why I don't mess with highlights, you know, like people come in and say, oh, just take it's fine, you get claimed. Like, I don't want to risk that. It's not worth it.
The play reviews? You mean are you talking about Tori's or the channel we have just for members that he did the streams that weren't actually public? Or
I think that's what he's talking about.
Or are you talking about Brant's breakdowns, because those were just pictures?
Yeah, so the thing is if you like have channels separated in some sort of way, like, it won't affect other channels. So Eric made that channel. But then also I keep those under 9 minutes and 45 seconds as well. Like, I don't make those go longer than that, because you can do, for the most part, NBA highlight videos. Okay. You can do that if it's under 9 minutes and 45 seconds. That's how it was in the past. I don't know what it is now because I haven't looked into it. But they get claimed, and they could still technically get struck. It's not something that you really have to worry about with videos that are shorter, but like it still technically could happen. So I have videos on this channel from the past, like right when I started the channel, that actually have NBA highlights in them that I just took the claim on, that I should probably just take down at this point. But I'm not going to mess with it in streams. And then, like, since I'm not doing it in streams, and that's a big thing, and, like, I can do good videos with all the graphics and all that type of stuff without highlights and, you know, make the ad revenue off of it and that sort of thing, like, I just don't mess with it. So I keep, like, people come in and ask me or say that I should do highlights and that sort of thing, and that's, like, I'll explain it once again. That's why. Mm-hmm. So I wish I could. I wish I could do on post-game shows. Dude, our post-game shows would be cracked, Eric.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It would be unfair. That's why they don't let us.
Like, we try with Brand's breakdowns with the pictures on the screen that why did I call you Ant? What the hell? Thanks. I was thinking Brant and called you Ant. You're welcome. We try and do the Brant, you know, we do the Brant's breakdowns with the, like, still images taken from Eric's TV on the stream. We do those. And people love that segment, even though it's, like, a phone taking a picture of a TV, like, but we try. You know what I mean? And I love that segment. Like, if we could break down plays, yeah, it would be amazing. Great. Fair use laws only apply if you're... I'm pretty sure they only apply if you're not making money off of it. But you can... The system can recognize 10 seconds of a clip. And, like, why would I only spend 10 seconds breaking something down? Like, that's not even worth it. I don't know. Anyway. Like, I'm just not going to risk it, right? Like, do you think that's the right decision, Eric?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know all the details, but yeah. From everything you've said, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, I get it. Like, I get people that come in and are like, you should use highlights or you should show highlight. Like, absolutely. I wish I could. But that's my rationale. It's just like, yeah, it's just not worth it. We've built so much here. Like, the last thing I'd want to do is, like, upload highlights in multiple streams and then all of a sudden, like, 3 things get struck and it's gone. I'd hate that. So, like, on Twitter, I want to do more, and I could maybe, like, help you figure out how to do this easily, Eric. I want to do more, like, during the game, breakdowns of film, and then post it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I was doing that for a while until CJ slid into my DMs complaining.
But, like, that's the thing. Like, if you watch at home and you're watching... Do you normally watch on your computer or TV when you're at home?
If I'm at home, I watch on my TV.
Yeah. But, like, you could have your computer running, and if you can watch on your computer, you could easily just, like, have a setup, and this is what I'll probably try and do next year, have a setup where you just play the video or play, you know, pause the... rewind or pause it on your computer on whatever you're streaming it on your computer, and then, like, play and talk over it and record on Streamlabs. And just, like, do a recording where, like, the video, it's not, like, camera of the TV like I've done in the past. So basically, follow us on freaking Twitter. All right? That's what I'm trying to say. I'll put our tags up, because our tags have been down.
people want me to elaborate on the CJ thing. I guess now that he's not a Blazer, I could.
Oh, you never told that on stream?
Well, I think I have, but I don't know. I don't know. Because he told me not to talk about it, so I kind of respect it. I mean, I told, all you people in like the group chat and on Discord and stuff, but
the inner circle of
yeah,
people that you could trust. I mean, nobody's gonna find out. Like, who's gonna talk about it?
No, I know
from this
stream.
Like,
yeah,
whatever.
But no, so you know how accountability was like a big thing last year. There was a play where CJ just stood there while his man cut to the basket and got a wide open lay-in, and I posted a video of it on Twitter that said like hold this shit accountable or something, and then the next morning someone tagged CJ, and then like a minute later CJ followed me, and then and then I got this super long DM from him, explaining how I was wrong, that they were playing a zone, and then he mansplained a zone defense to me, and so and then he basically tried to say it wasn't his responsibility to take the cutter. I've watched the play like a million times. He just fell asleep and he was trying to make excuses, whatever. But anyways, it was like a freaking novel he wrote to me on all this stuff. And eventually we had a back and forth, and it turned out to be a good conversation. And so yeah, it actually turned out to be a good thing. Like, we had a good back and forth, and he answered a few questions I had and stuff like that. And then he did talk to me like I was like an ignorant person when it came to basketball, which is kind of lame, but then
can't really play it. Like, that's the thing. If I was in his position and I thought this would happen, I probably would too,
But the cool thing is, like, I thought he was just going to unfollow me afterwards. He didn't for a long time, but after he got traded, he unfollowed me. But
he did? Yeah, man. CJ, why'd you unfollow my guy?
I can still message him because he messaged me first. So
yeah.
I still, like, I messaged him when he got traded. I just said, thanks for everything you did for Portland, and so he messaged back, thanks, brother, or something like it. Yeah. So
yeah, no, CJ's cool, man. Like, I like CJ as a person. He's a quality person.
Yeah, like, I don't blame him for trying to, like, explain it the way he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of funny.
And, like, that's the thing is, Taylor says, you're so lame for not bringing that up. That's amazing. Like, nah, you respected his wishes, man. I respect that. He said, don't say anything.
I mean, I swear I brought it up before, but yeah, not everyone hears every stream, so yeah.
Yeah, but, like, you're trustworthy, so... yeah, no, that's the CJ McCollum sliding into Eric's DMs. I don't think you've told that story before on air.
Yeah, I think I've referenced it maybe, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, probably, and I knew, and like some people in chat probably knew what you were talking about, but no, that's why you stick around to the end of these streams. You find out how CJ slid into Eric's DMs. But yeah, we've been live for 2 hours. We have Media Day coverage coming up Monday. Gray says Eric did his explanation, sell it to you. No, I mean, Eric, that's what Eric said. Like, and I read it, and it didn't make much sense to me either. But are you reading it back?
Yeah, I can read it if you want. Like I said, it's pretty long.
Do you guys want Eric to read it? Taylor wants you to read it.
For a long time, I mean, you and I were two of the last defenders of CJ,
I know, that's why it was so funny.
Yeah.
Like,
But
dude, we're defending you like crazy, man.
I did tell him that at one point. I was like, dude, like, I know you're not going to believe this, but like, we actually are two of the few people who believe in you still.
You said it like that? Damn.
I said, well,
we're the only two people
it's my I said for the record on my platform, Blazers Uprise, my co-host and I are what seems like two of the few people in Portland who still believe in this roster, and you in particular.
Yeah. That's why it was so funny when it happened, though. It's like, dude, like, I thought he got a lot of unfair criticism. We speak out against it and defend him against it, but then you have that tweet and he just slides into your DMs with a paragraph. It was hilarious. Yeah, everybody wants to hear it, man.
All right, screw it.
Sude says let's hear it, so this is his birthday present.
All right. Normally, I wouldn't respond to these type of videos, but it's important I share some dialogue with you on this matter. I take pride in my game and work hard daily on film, body, technique, and just trying to be locked in as a true professional. My game specifically defense is a work in progress, but getting better with focus and attention to details. Although these plays are a breakdown on our part, it's more of a lack of communication than effort. You don't know it because you aren't in the huddle, but we are actually in a zone defense. For zone defense, you guard areas or quadrants on the floor. When a man has the ball, you check the ball and your area, and at times pass guys off. Most zones go man once the ball hits a certain part of the floor, but we didn't communicate effectively or efficiently, so that's on me and the guys out there. It used to be automatic, but now it's only when we call it. But in the event we are still in zone, which is what 4 out of the 5 guys thought, including myself, Larry would go back to the bottom guy because we want bigs protecting rim, and I would return to the top of the zone to guard area. Just a side note, there was a guy already in the spot where he's saying he was supposed to go back to, but that's beside the point. Instead, he was denying the pass out in my area, and I didn't return to cover his because I didn't communicate effectively enough to let everyone know we're in a zone the entire possession. Lack of communication has Larry denying and me looking to return to my zone area, so it looks a mess, but that's what happens when you're learning on the fly. In the midst of a season, it won't be perfect, but the effort is there. On the second play, I rolled over the type of the screen. Lack of communication led to a late point switch where Norm and I weren't on the same page, and he ended up switching to take mine while I was running toward Caruso. So that led to indecision and me trying to switch late to Levine. Our defense is inconsistent, and we're showing flashes. Change isn't easy, and it takes time. We're getting there slowly, but surely. But also working with the new players, staff, and system, our communication, specifically mine, has to be better. But sometimes context matters and situations may appear one way, but when you truly know scheme and what's happening, it paints a better picture. I don't need or want you sharing our conversation as someone who seems to enjoy basketball, specifically Blazers basketball. Just know the players are working. I'm working, but as the saying goes, we're works in progress. Not perfect, but the preparation and dedication and mindset to want to be better is there every day. Enjoy your Thursday. Many blessings to you.
See, like, it was funny at the time just because you defended him so much and, like, how much it was. But, no, man, like, that's, he's explained it. I still don't know if he's, like, it still didn't really make much sense as two people that know basketball. But, nah, man, like,
I just can't believe
he still, like, you're, like, he still was, like, pretty damn nice to you and like polite to you. No. That's like CJ's personality. That's why people like him,
Right. Yeah, he wasn't a jerk or anything, but like I just couldn't believe he took the time to type all of that out. Like
yeah.
That was crazy, yeah.
Wasn't he on the road or something?
I don't know. I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, nah. So nah, man, like, after that, I like CJ a little bit more, man. Like, he's just responding to a fan and, like, somebody that was, maybe in his mind it wasn't his mistake. And then, that's the thing. I thought about it from CJ's perspective. Like, you were absolutely right, with that tweet, like, there's nothing wrong with that tweet and calling for accountability, that sort of thing. From CJ's perspective, if I think I wasn't the guy who messed up, and then you have this dude on Twitter saying, you gotta hold this stuff accountable, I probably wouldn't have been as nice as CJ was, man. Like, if I was CJ. So I respect him for that. That made me like him a little bit more. Because that's the thing, you guys will put up this image, like, public, but then, like, if you talk to somebody privately or DMs or whatever, they'll be an asshole. And, like, he was still CJ. Like, that's CJ for you. What were you going to say?
Oh, I said hold this crap accountable, not as that sort of guess.
Oh, got you.
But
Julie Spencer, PDX, we're talking about when CJ DM'd Derek.
But no, if you go back and look at the play, if they were in a zone, CJ is saying he needed to go back up to the top, but there was already a guy there, so it doesn't make sense, his explanation still, but it's neither here nor there. But, like, yeah, I mean, I felt bad because it did seem like he cared, and it did seem like he was trying. And like I later told him, I definitely saw, especially, I mean, this was towards the beginning of the season, so there was that point where CJ looked like he was carrying a lot more defense than some of the other players on the team. So, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, don't, go and say anything to CJ about it. Like it's in the past, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is from November of 2021, so it was about a month into the season.
Yeah, that was the time that... Yeah, and then there was a specific Hawks assistant coach or former head coach that... That was a whole nother thing. There's some stuff you guys don't know behind the scenes that have happened that it makes for good stories to tell in the future.
It would have been more appropriate for me to tell my Ime Udoka stories in this stream.
Oh, yeah. We can save that for another. But yeah, that would have been perfect. Didn't, like, he try and fight someone or something? Wasn't there...
No, it was just the year before he played for the Blazers, so he had just come off a season where he played for the New York Knicks towards the end of that season. That summer he played in a rec league here in Portland that I was in, and he talked so much crap. Yeah, he thought he was so cool, like scoring 30 points on people like me, in a
rec league. In a rec league, 30's not even.
No, yeah,
that's yikes. Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my greatest athletic moments in a basketball game. Happened with Ime Udoka. He tried to dunk on me, and I pinned his shit against the glass. So, yeah.
I wish we had the tape.
I know. I can't even jump, but that was like my peak athletic moment of my career. So, yeah.
Dude, just the fact that you were touching something that was touching the backboard is amazing. Taylor says, go ahead.
No, then we signed him like right after that, and then I was like, man, what are we doing? And then he's like started all year for us. Yeah,
he's actually okay. That's
yeah, he was okay. Yeah,
I remember because they had like a couple other Portland area guys that season. It was like a season they sucked, but just had some Portland guys on the roster. There wasn't like Juan Dixon on that roster or something like.
But yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was all season. You had to listen to Mike, and I mean, Ime, it's not necessarily a reflection of who he was at the time, but like you had to listen to what a great guy he was over and over. And I'm like, dude, this guy was like talking so much crap. Like he didn't seem very nice, but yeah.
Nobody's saying he's a good guy anymore.
Yeah, true.
CJ is head of the Players Association. I have contacted the leaders of every team in the league. We are in agreement. Eric is definitely not him.
And like I said, we had a good conversation after that. And, yeah.
Oh, man. That's funny. All right. Well, we've been streaming for almost 2.5 hours. We'll have Media Day stuff on Monday. We'll talk about that. And then Thursday, we'll talk about storylines and, maybe some stories coming out of camp. And then The week after. So the week after our first preseason game is the 3rd. Correct?
Something like that, yeah.
We'll have a post-game show for that instead of Blazers Uprise Live. It might go live right around the same time. And it will be right here. The preseason post-game shows are here on Blazers Uprise Live. Okay? Preseason post-game shows on Blazers Uprise Live. And we will try and should be able to do them for every game. As long as we can watch every game. I don't know about the one against the international team because that was a problem in the past. But I think for preseason, should we just do post-game shows and not do, like, if Thursday there's not a game, we won't do a Thursday stream?
Yeah, it doesn't
Does
matter.
that sound smart? Yeah. I mean, it's like what we talk about. We talk about whatever we talk in the post-game shows. So during the preseason, our Blazers Uprise live streams are just going to be after games. Okay?
Well, there's only 4, right?
No, there's 6.
Is there 6?
I thought there was 6. Or 5? I don't know. Blazers preseason. Let me just look and get you guys, and let you guys actually know. Yeah, why did I think there was 6? No, there's 5. Hold on. Yeah, there's 5. There's 4 against NBA teams. So there's the 3rd, the 4th, the 6th. Okay, and the 6th is a Thursday. So, it's that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday in the first week of October. So we'll stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday instead of Monday and Thursday. Same time, as usual. And then there's a game on the 9th, which is a Sunday. So we'll have a stream after that game. That Monday, we won't do a Blazers Uprise live stream because then that Tuesday we play at Golden State. So, yeah. We'll just do Blazers Uprise live streams after every preseason game through the final preseason game, which is the 11th. And then that Thursday, we will have another episode of Blazers Uprise live. Okay? And then the following Monday is the 17th. The season still hasn't started yet, so we'll have Blazers Uprise live at 9:30. And then that following Thursday, the season will have already begun. And at that point, Blazers Uprise live will change to 3:30 p.m. once the regular season starts. Does that make sense, chat? Are you guys confused at that? Hopefully I explained it well. If you have any questions, let me know. Shout out Mike Aldridge, $5 dono, says, just turned in. Those 2 stories are great, Eric. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. It was crazy to watch that go down. Thank you, Mike, for the $5 dono. But, yeah, let me know if you have any questions about the schedule. Hopefully I explained it well.
Yeah, and for those asking for my highlight tapes, you have to think that these were all smartphones, so it wasn't easy to record pickup games and stuff like that. So there's not much Eric Brandt footage out there.
I'm gonna go on Twitter, or I'm gonna go on Reddit and just type a raving review. This man Eric Brandt was talking about his rec league career. He's so conceited and that sort of thing. All right, just to be fair, okay. Because I can't talk about my college days anymore.
All right, so truly, Spencer PDX has a question for us. Job offered me $6 pay increase to stay. Another offered to train. Says something with
train and pay for my CDL.
License to drive big rig trucks.
Is it like the same sort of work?
What are you doing now?
I feel like we need more context with that life advice question.
I mean,
also, I need to order my
$6 raise is a pretty good reason to stay. But if it's a different thing, and you could be making more money after you get your CDL license, whatever that might be, yeah.
License to drive big rig trucks. If that's what you want to do, man, drive a 28-foot box truck for Intel. I mean, if you really, it just depends on how much you want to drive big rig trucks. That's.
If
Don't make think about what you're gonna want, a year from now or 2 years from now, whatever, and think about what decision you'll have wanted to make. Even if it's something where short term you have to sacrifice a little bit, I think in the future you'd be grateful if that's really what you want to do. If it's not what you really want to do, then you shouldn't regret it in the future that you took the $6 pay raise, right? So that's how I would look at it.
If you get all the benefits as like an Intel employee, like the sabbatical after a certain time you're there and stuff, I would not give that up for another job, especially if you're getting offered a raise.
Yeah. 2 years from now, I could make $80K with the CDL. If that's more than you make with the $6 raise and that's, what you want to do, then you probably regret not doing it, Obviously, there's a bunch of things that go into that decision that you got away, not us, but, just have I would say have a long range approach at figuring out what you want to do. Don't have regrets 2 years from now. Anyway, that's our life advice segment. Anything else for the stream?
Thank you everyone for watching. But yeah, it's been a fun stream, and hope to see you all on Monday when we have actual media day comments to talk about.
Yep, this is literally the end of the off season. Glad to see it go. Glad for the season, officially, at least seasonal content begins on the 26th with media day. Kicks things off. Excited to see what players and coaches and Cronin, if he talks, I'm excited to see what they're gonna say, man. I'm very intrigued to just hear the mindset of the team going into this season and what they have to say about the defensive side of the ball, most importantly. So, with that being said, thank you all for donating. It's the most donations we've got in at least a couple months, so thank you to everybody showing the support. Thank you to everybody who watched, who left a like, who has subscribed. All you guys for making this community truly special. Excited to kick off another season of Blazers basketball and Blazers Uprise coverage with you guys. We'll be along for the ride. And final words.
Good night, everyone. Have a good one. We'll see you Monday.
Yep. Have a good rest of your Friday morning if you're on the West Coast. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.